Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the April 20th edition of Full Court Press Basketball Debate. It's been a while. We've had a lot of stuff to do, but the playoffs are here. It's the best time of the year for both Yvonne and I, and all avid NBA fans out there. All the series have played one game. Everything is shaping up, so now we get to talk about it. There's a lot to talk about, especially after last night. Thank you for joining us. The Clippers took on the Spurs last night in Game 1 of that series. This is probably, I think you'll agree with me here, the most anticipated first-round series of these playoffs. The Clippers and the Spurs in the first round.
I'll be honest with you, I think this was the game that surprised me the most.
The Clippers take Game 1 from the Spurs at home with ease.
Okay, not to interrupt you, but let's not forget, not that I think it would have made much difference anyway, but Tony Parker's got 2 injuries. They say he'll be okay to play, but he's got a thigh bruise and he's got, is it his ankle? Yeah, his ankle. They taped it up real tight and they said that he'd be okay to play.
Right.
Nothing that should keep him from playing. But I think it might have made a difference, but I'm not sure if it would have made that much of a difference.
Yvonne.
Because they won by...
Your thoughts on the outcome of this game?
I'm thoroughly surprised. Thoroughly surprised. I've been saying all along that San Antonio's going to be a repeat, and I didn't expect what happened last night to happen last night. I didn't. And Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, boy, did they step up to the plate last night. What?
I cannot say that I was shocked or even surprised that the Clippers won Game 1, because Game 1 is like a clean slate. The playoffs begins a whole new season, and the Clippers were at home. Staples Center, second largest stadium in basketball besides Madison Square Garden. I can't say I was even surprised by the win. I can say I was surprised how easily the Clippers seemed to win this game.
Well, they didn't win by like one basket. They won by 15.
Chris Paul.
I mean, really?
Chris Paul was superb in this game.
Yep.
13 of 20 from the floor, 32 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. His counterpart, Blake Griffin, had 26 and 12.
Yep. And one of those shots that Blake made where he's up in the air and his legs are open like this, they said that's going to be the new poster for the Clippers.
Oh, yeah. The dunk.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. My thoughts on the outcome of all of these games are pretty simple if you're taking game by game. In this game, San Antonio could not hit a shot.
They were not San Antonio last night.
In this game, and here's the thing. Here's where my concern is. San Antonio shot 32% last night, and we're still in the game until late in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
That concerns me for the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, they're the Spurs, but you got to put them away.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know what? Game 2, and the Clippers need to realize that Game 2 is going to be completely different. If we know anything about San Antonio, we know that they're the ultimate bounce-back team. Let's not forget last year's finals between the Spurs and LeBron's Miami Heat. LeBron and company took Game 1. And then San Antonio took 4 straight to win the series. So the Clippers need to keep it up.
Yeah.
There is, honest to God, I believe there is more pressure on the Clippers in this game too than there is
absolutely.
the Spurs.
I look at it this way also, which is another, we're going to talk about several of them that I think this fits. After Game 1, you know how your competition is going to play. You see what they're capable of. you know how you played against them, and you know if you watch the film and you watch the footage, and I know those coaches make them watch it over and over and
Doc
over
and
and over
Popovich,
again.
yeah.
Right, okay? All right, Monty, there you go. They're going to see what they did wrong, where they screwed up, how they can improve. You get to know your team, your competition.
Especially in a
game
7-game
one.
series.
Right.
Look, let's take nothing away from the Clippers in this game. I'm not trying to make this seem like we're talking about the Spurs here, because everybody should be talking about how phenomenal Los Angeles was last night.
Yeah, they were.
It was a sight to see, man. I have not seen Chris Paul play like that since he was in New Orleans. Last night, Chris Paul epitomized what I had been scrutinizing him for all year long. He had the killer look in his eyes.
There you go.
We haven't seen that all year long.
Okay.
And he was on a mission last night.
That was my Chris Paul last night.
That is Chris Paul. That's what I have been scrutinizing him for, because he had the best game in all of the first round out of the game ones played in every series, outside of probably Anthony Davis, Chris Paul,
I got another one too.
or Kyrie Irving.
I got
Chris
another
Paul
one too.
had probably the best game one of anybody. Efficiency.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
I have another one that we're going to talk about that not only did well, but he did it in an atmosphere of hatred. And I'm talking about Mr. Paul Pierce.
Memphis
Okay?
controls Portland in game one
Yes, they did.
and wins by a hefty margin.
Oh, yes, they did.
Yvonne, your thoughts on this outcome?
Well, we've known all year long that Memphis is good. But they haven't been consistently good. If they can play like this, then it's not going to take that much.
I tell you what,
They were on fire
they were
last
impressive.
night.
This
Yes.
was the team that probably impressed me the most as a whole team.
Exactly. Lillard was beside himself. He didn't know what to do with
This
himself.
was Memphis.
Right.
Okay, this is the Memphis that we have become accustomed to seeing
Right.
in these playoffs. The grit and grind,
Right.
the physical contact. This was a Memphis Grizzlies basketball game. They dominated from the opening tip
Oh,
to
yeah.
the final buzzer.
Oh, yeah.
Gasol was fantastic.
Yep.
Zach Randolph looked like
Yep.
Zach Randolph. Tony Allen.
Yeah.
Tony Allen.
Yeah.
Bano Udrih.
Yes.
Udrih?
Yes, I know. He was something. He was something. I didn't know he had that in him.
Oh my!
Where has that been all season? He hasn't
That's all I
played
gotta
like
say,
that all
man.
season.
That's all you can say. It was
Yeah.
dominant. Now, they got to do something about LaMarcus Aldridge, because that man,
Yeah.
he was great. The problem is, he was the only one playing,
Yep.
and they're gonna have to do something about that.
Yeah, because honestly, Lillard looked like he was lost.
Right.
He looked like he was confused. He was lost. He looked like he.
Nick Batum played a good game too.
Yeah, but Lillard looked like he was lost.
Man,
I was confused.
Yeah, it was. But you can't really talk too much about game ones because it's one game.
That's right.
But the one game tells a whole hell of a lot. Like
The
this
most
next one.
important thing is it should be telling a lot to the opposing teams.
Right.
If they don't learn from game one, they have nobody to blame but themselves.
Like this next one. Atlanta holds off the pesky Brooklyn Nets for a game one victory. Yvonne, your thoughts on this outcome?
Yep. Yep. I think Brooklyn has it in them. I think Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I think Brooklyn has it in them. They only won by 7. Atlanta only won by 7 points. Brooklyn showed up. It's just that I think Atlanta got a head start. I think that first quarter kind of threw Brooklyn a little bit. This is new area for them. This is new territory for them. I think they were a little intimidated by the whole playoff factor thing. But then once they got rolling.
Well, let's not forget something else. They do have Joe Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
This is very familiar for him.
Yeah.
In fact, every season he's been in Brooklyn, they've made the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they haven't done it with Brook Lopez. Let's
Right.
remember Brook Lopez has been injured the past couple of years.
Right.
When they really could have used him.
Yeah.
And Lopez went for 17 and 14 in this game.
Yep.
And Al Horford shaky with an injury. He could play in game 2. He might. Look, I'm picking Atlanta in the series. But don't discount the Brooklyn Nets.
They've got some competition there.
I do want to credit Kyle Korver.
Yes.
Big shot maker, big shot taker, big shot maker.
Yep.
All game long. All game long. 3-pointer after 3-pointer after 3-pointer. Now I'm going to drive. Now I'm going to get a rebound.
Yep.
Now I'm going to make a shot. He was doing everything right.
Well, it's like his brain was always one step ahead.
He was doing everything right.
Right.
He's a veteran. He showed up last night.
Right.
He led that team.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Atlanta. It was a good win for them. They needed it.
Yep.
They needed it bad.
Yep.
LeBron and the Cavs look good in the Game 1 win over the Celtics. 113-100. I watched this game in its entirety.
Yeah, but Boston looked good too.
Your thoughts on the outcome?
Boston looked good too. I think they did an excellent job. Okay? Let's don't forget that this is a new team,
Oh, it is.
basically. Boston is a new team.
With a new head coach.
With a new head coach, I was going there. And this is like foreign territory for them. And I know they lost by 13. But I think they're going to learn a lot from this first game. And let's be perfectly honest, this ain't LeBron's first rodeo. Okay? So if LeBron would not have done well, then we would have been shocked.
As well as LeBron did. And I'll agree with you on Boston. They're new. They played well. They hung in there. Kyrie Irving,
I know.
in his first playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, much has been made about the lack of experience.
It's the
lack of
Kyrie Irving show.
The lack of playoff experience on this
Yeah.
Cleveland team.
I think Kyrie Irving could play no matter where you put him.
People need to
no matter who
understand.
you pit him against.
People need to understand that Kyrie Irving is a big-time player.
Kyrie Irving could play in a lightning storm.
Kyrie Irving could play blind with a hand tied behind his back.
In a lightning storm.
It was
Yeah.
sensational.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just for, excuse my French, shits and giggles, where did he go to college?
Yep.
Yeah, just saying. But see, going to Duke actually proves something. Every game you play at Duke is played on a big stage.
Mm-hmm.
Duke's the loudest stadium in college basketball. Duke's probably the most treasured program in college basketball. Every game you play is a big stage game. And he's used to it. He's not used to this atmosphere. But he doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
At
but
least that's what it looks like.
He's not scared or intimidated by anything.
30 points.
He's not scared or intimidated by anything.
I was lost, bro. I love Kyrie Irving. I thought he was going to struggle a little bit in this game because it's new to him. Even Kevin Love was great in this game.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything that does scare Kyrie Irving.
And that's such a good thing.
Yeah.
That is such a good thing.
Yeah.
James Harden leads Houston past Dallas in Game 1. Yvonne, your thoughts on the outcome?
I think Harden played the way that we knew Harden was going to play. I really do. I wasn't surprised at all. Were you?
I was surprised because I didn't think the most impressive player out there was James Harden. I don't. Dwight Howard was fantastic.
How many blocks did he end up having?
Oh, God. I
don't even remember. Every time I looked up, he was blocking a shot, shooting the ball, knocking the ball into the crowd. He even knocked it into one of the cameramen. I mean, every time you looked, he was doing a block. And how many rebounds did he have?
Well,
No.
he had 11 points, 5 rebounds. He had 7 blocks.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I liked about Dwight Howard's performance. 11 and 5. Okay, great. He set the tone. The first block he had was emphatic on Tyson Chandler of all people.
Of all people.
And he sent it into the 4th row of the stands.
Right.
That sets a tone.
Well, that was like a, hey, I'm right here.
Exactly.
I'm right here.
Not in this house.
Do not think that you're going to get away with this during this game.
Dwight, I gotta be honest.
Right.
Dwight Howard looked great.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe he is the main reason. That tone-setting block is the main reason Houston got this game won. Now, keep in mind, both of these teams are from the same state.
Yep.
And this is going to be a grit and grind, I believe, 6, possibly 7-game series because the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, because let's don't forget something. Even though Dallas lost, Dirk played like Dirk hasn't played in
Dallas
a
played well.
long time.
Dirk played well. Dallas played well as a team. They did.
Okay? Now, taking Chandler Parsons off the court and then sending him back out, I think threw them off a little bit. I think it broke the rhythm for a little while.
It might have. It
Okay.
might have.
But Dirk played like
Dallas looked
and
good.
let's don't forget, this is Dirk's last season.
It is.
He retires after this.
It is.
And if that man can get a ring or can get close to it in
This is going to be a 6-7 game series.
Absolutely.
I'd be
I think
willing
so
to bet.
too.
I'd be willing to bet.
I think so too.
Here we go. Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, and the Bulls roll past the Milwaukee Bucks in game 1. Yvonne, your thoughts on the outcome?
If Derrick Rose plays like he played in this game, we're not going to need to go to 7 games. I can promise you.
You can book Chicago
Yep.
in the East Final, in the
Yep.
NBA Finals.
Yeah, I can see that. If he continues the way he played.
This was my favorite game of the game ones because it was Rose's first playoff appearance since 2012. And man, he did not look like Derrick Rose. He looked like D. Rose.
Yeah.
And can we say Jimmy Butler?
What?
If Jimmy Butler does not win the Most Improved Player award this year and is not on an All-NBA team, it is a disgrace. 27 points, and did it on both ends.
Oh, he's
As good as he was offensively,
oh my
he was
God,
better
he was
defensively.
So, I think he was better as a defensive player
He
than
is.
an offensive
He is.
player.
He is.
He was for that
And
game.
that's the impressive thing.
Yeah.
That-
He was for that game.
Pau Gasol with another double-double.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Chicago, them and Memphis were probably the 2 best-looking teams
I know one
out
thing.
of the game
I know
once.
one thing. When it was all said and done, I'm glad they didn't have to play last night. Powell's hair was stuck to his head. Every one of them was they ran
Oh, yeah.
the entire
Man,
game.
I know, and everybody's going to make this out to be Derrick Rose, and he deserves it. He played extremely well. But Jimmy Butler's the X factor,
Oh,
man.
what?
He is
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Golden State holds on to beat New Orleans in game 1.
That's all right.
Your thoughts on the outcome?
That's all right. It's only 7 points. It's only 7 points. Okay? I'm not happy that New Orleans lost. Okay? But they're in new territory. All right? And they're playing the best team out of the whole league. Okay? I was not surprised that they lost. Was not surprised that Golden State won. A 7-point spread is not bad for game 1. Now, what did you learn from it? That is the key factor. I'm not happy that they lost. But if they learned something from it, and if they watched the film, and if they saw that you don't just leave Klay Thompson open, and you gotta watch him, and you gotta watch Curry to make shots that you don't think are possible to be made. Okay? If they can learn, then they'll know for game 2, which happens tonight. I just wish it wasn't in Golden State Stadium tonight. My point that I would like to stress, and I'm pretty sure you know this factor anyway because it's been blasted all over SportsCenter, all over Yahoo, all over YouTube, all over everything. Our man, Anthony Davis, is in a new category. For the first round, game 1, since basketball started with the playoff games, he has joined Michael Jordan and who else? Oh my gosh, I just forgot. He has joined 2 other players at having more than 30 points.
You're thinking of, he has become the 5th player in NBA history.
I knew you knew about it.
To have 35 points, at least 35 points and 5 boards in his playoff debut.
There you go.
Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Those 2.
Hakeem Olajuwon, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis.
Yes. I knew you knew about it because it's been all over everywhere. He was awesome.
Here is what I liked.
I think it was a very good learning and growing
What
experience.
I liked.
We'll just see tonight how much they learned from
What
it.
I liked from New Orleans is this. They only got out-rebounded by 3. Okay? That's a good start. We held Golden State to 11 of 29 from three-point range.
Right.
We held them to 46% shooting. They had 1 more turnover than we did. And yeah, Stephen Curry had 34 points, but he took 25 shots to get 34 points.
Oh,
non-efficient.
and how many rebounds did Anthony Davis have?
He had 35 and 7.
Yeah.
Here is what I didn't like. Another thing I liked about New Orleans, is that we went 20 of 25 from the free throw line.
Yes.
The problem is Golden State took 34 free throws in this game.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Much too much.
Yeah.
Now they only hit 21 of 34, which
It doesn't
is...
matter. You
But
shouldn't be allowing them to get to the free throw line that much.
here's the thing. And they came back in that fourth quarter. They looked extremely good in the second half, did New Orleans. Anthony Davis had 20 in the fourth quarter. He was fantastic.
The fourth quarter, I think by the time they got to the fourth quarter, they had already seen and they already learned something. So I'm hoping that within the last 48 hours of talking and practicing and watching footage, and I'm hoping that tonight
Let me ask you this.
proves
Let me ask you a question.
that they learned some valuable lessons.
Here's something to think about for you and for all of the people out there that are scrutinizing New Orleans right now. Because there's a lot of them.
Well, baby, there's so many people that are even surprised that New Orleans got to be the 8th seed. Because not everybody had NBA Pass like we did, and not everybody got to watch a lot of their big games.
What if? How does the outcome of this game change? Okay? If Tyreke Evans plays more than 12 minutes.
Good point.
And takes more than 2 shots.
Good point. Good point.
I think that if Tyreke Evans plays his normal 35 to 40 minutes, that we're talking about a different winner in game 1.
You mean game 2?
No.
Oh, if he would have played. Okay, I got
How
you.
does the outcome of game 1 change if Evans is on the floor?
Yeah.
Just something to think about.
I wish we knew if he was playing tonight.
Him and Holiday are both questionable tonight for New Orleans.
Well, that's not going to be good if neither one of them plays.
I think they'll play. Here's the one you want to talk about.
Absolutely.
Washington beats Toronto to win game 1 on the road. The only road team to win game 1 this year. Your thoughts on the outcome?
First of all,
Oh, I know where she's going.
if you get on Yahoo, or if you go online, and you see that infamous picture that's everywhere of Paul Pierce sitting on the sideline in a folded chair with his arm draped across the back of the chair next to him with that look on his face, and you push that arrow and all you hear is the crowd screaming how much they hate him. And he's got that look on his face like, y'all go ahead. Whatever rocks your boat. Whatever floats your boat. Go for it. Did not faze him in the least. Papa said it fired him up. They don't call him Clutch for nothing.
Okay. I'm going to shed some light on the because there's a lot of questions. I've been getting a lot of emails. Why is Toronto and Paul Pierce going back and forth? Paul Pierce said some things a week or so back about the Toronto Raptors that he shouldn't have said, and I got very disappointed in him for saying those things.
Okay, he shouldn't have said it, but honestly, I think some of it you could have interpreted in another way or taken out of context.
You don't say something bad about your opponent, okay? He knows better than that.
After all this time, you would think so.
And I didn't like it. Now, here's what I'm going to bring up. It doesn't matter what you say as long as you can back it up.
Mm-hmm. Talk's cheap.
And in game 1, Paul Pierce backed it up.
What?
Sorry, Toronto.
He can not only talk the talk, he can walk the walk.
What do I say all the time about the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the caliber of players in this series. John Wall,
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Lowry, Bradley Beal, DeMar DeRozan, Valanciunas, Nene, Gortat, Young Guns, Grievous Vasquez, who hit that huge shot to send it to overtime. And the 36-year-old...
Wait, did you see his little shimmy action out there on the floor?
And the 36-year-old
Washed
up piece of garbage,
Yep.
Paul Pierce, is the one that seals the deal.
Yep.
How can that be? Because the truth don't lie.
Yep, Mr. Clutch.
Experience.
Yep.
I keep saying it and saying it and saying, oh, Chris, experience doesn't matter then. But really? Because if experience didn't matter, Toronto would have won game 1.
Who is the player on the Washington team? I can visualize him, but his name is escaping me right at the moment. He said there were a couple of times in the game where he was feeling down or he was getting a nervous knot in his stomach. And if it hadn't been for Paul Pierce.
Kevin Seraphin.
Okay.
Coming off the bench, it was his first playoff experience.
He said
He was good, too.
he said he was like the big brother that I never had.
Paul Pierce.
He talked me down, he calmed me down.
Paul Pierce.
And he made me realize my potential. That's a big statement to make.
Let me tell you something about Paul Pierce. And I feel like I don't have to say this, but I feel like enough credit isn't given. This man eats.
He's been through one adversity after another his whole life.
I don't know what it is, but it's something that just makes you want to root for him.
Because he's had so much adversity in his life.
And this game right here, I mean, he was hitting shots with people in his eyebrows.
He was hitting shots like we haven't seen since Boston way back.
How is he still doing it?
Yeah.
I can't answer that.
No. Now, he shouldn't have trash talked.
I don't even think he can answer that.
But honestly,
it ain't trash talk if you back it up.
well, not only that, Papa says he thinks he did it on purpose.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
It's a mind game.
Yeah.
And nobody's better at mind games.
He screwed with Toronto's
There's
head.
only one person that I could think of that takes mind games better than Paul Pierce. And that's Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This game, now credit Toronto. Man, Toronto was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Grievous. That shot by Vasquez
Was unbelievable.
Sensational.
Yes.
And Toronto was fantastic in this game.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Washington didn't play that well as a unit. But I'll be damned if in overtime they don't go to number 34. They don't go to John Wall.
No.
They don't go to Bradley Beal.
No.
They go where the money's at. They go with where the rings are at. They go with the truth. Why? Because the truth don't lie.
Washington only won by 7 points.
But to make a 7-point difference in a 5-minute overtime, that says a lot.
Yeah.
It says a lot.
Yeah.
And overtime, game 1 on the road, it's clutch time. Okay,
I know.
Pierce.
Yeah. On the road, overtime.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable human being.
Yeah.
Part 1 ends here. Part 2, we're going to talk about the series more in depth.